This is a review of the Grace Digital GDI-BTAR122. It is a 100-watt digital integrated stereo amplifier that has a built-in Bluetooth wireless stereo receiver. Inside of the box, you'll find a screw-on antenna for the Bluetooth, an auxiliary cable with both ends of it being 3.5 millimeter jack connectors, a brief instruction guide, the amplifier itself, which is here, and then we have a remote control to control the stereo amplifier, a power cord that plugs into the power block, and the other end of the power block has a cable that plugs into the back of the amplifier. The auxiliary cord is 50 inches long, the AC cord is 60 inches long, and the DC cord into the back of the unit is 70 inches long. Here you can see the power adapter, which is rated for 100 to 240 volts AC and 50 to 60 hertz. Its output is 25 volts at 4.3 amps. Here you can see the front of the remote control. You have a power on-off button. This Bluetooth button lets you connect to the Bluetooth device. This is a mute button. Here you have a skip forward and skip back button with a play pause button in the middle. Here you have the volume plus and minus with a ramp function. Here you can adjust the treble, and here you can adjust the bass independent of each other. By pressing the auxiliary button, you can switch between the Bluetooth and the auxiliary input jack, and you also have different preset equalizer modes, which is flat, jazz, rhythm and blues, and rock and roll. Here you can see the connection port where you can screw on the antenna. I'll do that later on. Here you have the DC power input, and a nice thing about this is designed to play with your Bluetooth device, and if you want you can plug in a USB cable and get 5 volts and 2 amps out for a docking station or to take to a cable, so you can charge your phone or your tablet while you're listening to the music. If you don't have Bluetooth, you can use the auxiliary cable which is supplied with the product and plug it in the auxiliary in port. You also have a line out port if you want to use that to take it directly to a stereo system, for example. And then here you have a setup here where you can power a left and right speaker directly and not even use another stereo system with the device. Here you can see a typical installation where you might have a small office, a dorm room, or a bedroom, for example. You now can take this speaker and wire it with 2 speakers directly powered by this device. This device is quite powerful. It's capable of outputting 50 watts per channel, and I have it tied to 2 nice Bose speakers, so we'll see how it sounds. I've plugged in the DC power input line, and I've screwed in the Bluetooth antenna where it receives the signal from your smart device. Here you can see a comparison of size. I actually have this sitting on my iPhone 4, so you can see this is not a big device, even though it does output a lot of power. I'd like to remind you that speakers do have polarity. That's why one of these is red and one of them is not. This is the right channel, this is the left channel. Please make sure you wire your speakers correctly and get the polarities correct. That keeps the speakers in phase with each other when their speakers are bouncing and produces the best sound quality. I'm now going to give you a little lesson on the controller, which I have in my hand. I'm going to press the power button. You can see the LEDs come on. That indicates that the power is on maximum. If I press the minus button, you'll see it go down. So the display is very interactive and very nice. In addition to that, if I press the treble button, for example, and I press plus, you can see the treble's been centered. And if I press it, it goes up and it can go down. So you can have good control over the treble and bass of your system. If I press jazz, for example, you can see it go to a default, and you see it blink that it did receive the signal. I'm now going to pair my phone to the system. I'm going to touch the Bluetooth button and hold it for a few seconds, and as I do, you'll see a blue light start to flash. Grace Digital has popped up and the blue light's flashing. I'm going to touch Grace Digital. You can see it spinning, and it's now paired. So I'm ready to play my music. Here you can see a typical setup, like I said, for a dorm room or for your bedroom or your office. I've got 2 Bose speakers hooked up, and this thing just absolutely rocks. I mean, the volume is off the charts. I now have it turned up all the way. I've got the bass and treble central set, so it's the way it came from the factory. I'm now going to play a song. As you can see, the sound volume is off the scale. It's extremely loud. You have to imagine I'm standing 15 feet away with a lavalier mic on, so the sound pickup was just excellent. I also am using the remote control to control it from that distance, so it's really good. This thing will blow you away. It's got 50 watts per channel. The sound quality, the volume is excellent. The sound quality is beautiful. The bass and treble are just perfect. Of course, I've got some good speakers here, so that's going to help your installation. I'm now going to play a non-copyrighted song. It's a Star Spangled Banner. I'd like you to know that the volume of your Bluetooth device, like in this case it's my phone, affects the volume of the stereo. If you start playing your music and you have no volume, it's because you have the volume turned down on your smart device. So make sure you turn it up all the way and use the volume control on the stereo to control the sound. Here we go. On medium sound, and you can see how loud it sounded. I'm now going to gradually turn it up and so you can hear the full volume. As you can see, the volume gets quite loud. The music sounds excellent. I wanted to point out on the front, you have all the controls here that you also have on the remote control. You've got the power off on, you've got your bass plus and minus, your treble plus and minus, you've got your balance between the left and right speakers, you can switch to the auxiliary in, you can also do the Bluetooth, and here you have the volume control that you can set up and adjust the volume. And there's actually more stops on the knob than there are LEDs. You actually have a stop between each of the LEDs. So you do have a pretty good control. And of course the blue LED means that the Bluetooth is connected. The second type of installation. Now I have a large stereo system and I've got two RCA jacks on the front. I have this cable that converts RCA to auxiliary input, and I plugged from the auxiliary output here into the RCA plugs on the front. And you can see that Video 3 is now the audio system for this stereo amplifier. See, now that this device is wired this way, it's going to receive the Bluetooth song from my smart device, convert it to a signal to go to the stereo receiver, and as a result, instead of having two small Bose speakers, I now have 6 large speakers that can output probably about 600 or 700 watts. So the difference being is that now I have a true stereo output for my Bluetooth songs. This device is now going to drive 6 speakers. There's a small one, and you can see there's all 3 of them there, 4 of them there, and then there's 2 behind us. So this is wired in sense around sound. I've got the volume set about medium, and we're ready to go. The music sounds distorted, but that's the mic. It actually sounded perfect. This is an outstanding Bluetooth amplifier. If you have an office, you want to play some music over some speakers, or you want to add it into your stereo system, you can tell this thing absolutely rocks. It's superior quality of output, superior volume. I recommend this. I gave it 5 stars. If I could give it 10 stars, I would. This review is done by JJ CEO. I'd like you to know I received a sample for test and evaluation, and I promise to give a fair and honest review.